Story time! Since I get asked this literally all the time, today I'll be telling you all about how and why I started driving a truck. Back in 2017, I made the mistake of moving to South Carolina for my husband. The day I got there, I knew it was a mistake. I had been working for the same company for the past 3 years and had just transferred to the building in South Carolina, but immediately began looking at my options to transfer back. In the job listings, I saw a promotional transfer for a yard dog driver position. No CDL or experience required. I knew nothing about trucks, I didn't grow up around them, but the job had always intrigued me. I applied with no hesitation. It took months, but after a phone interview and some background checks, I was finally awarded the transfer back home to Kentucky. I packed up all of mine and my son's belongings that I could fit in a U-Haul and moved on to our fresh start. Learning to drive and back the yard truck was a completely new concept to me, but once I got the hang of it, not only was I really good at it, I loved it. About 7 months in, the company offered to pay for me to get my CDL. That was a no-brainer. I went for it. I was still a struggling single mother at this point. So I gotta give a shout out to my manager at the time for fronting the cost of the permit test for me. Thanks, Steve! I passed all tests first try and gave the company my notice to quit that same day. Despite how much I'd enjoyed driving the yard truck and all of the great people I met there, the road called my name, and I was ready to really start driving. It took me a while to find a company to give me a chance with no road experience. Even had a couple companies deny me the job because of my gender. And no, this is not a presumption, they literally told me that. I finally found a smaller indie-based company that hired me to drive locally in Kentucky. I was nervous starting out, but before long I was having a blast, and I just knew I'd never clock into a warehouse again. Instead of concrete floors and no daylight for 10 to 12 hours a day, I was seeing the world. Well, the Midwest portion of it anyway. The freedom was unmatched, even just in a little day cab Volvo. My best friend eventually followed my footsteps and got his CDL with the same company and came out on the road to drive with me at this new company. After a few years of driving local and regional off and on, I moved on to my first company that had a long-nose 18-speed Peterbilt. I fell in love with driving all over again. That company and truck raised my standards through the roof, and I enjoyed every minute I got to drive for them. It was sad to leave them to come back local, but where I am now met my high standards and more. I've still got me a sweet long-nosed Pete, and I get to be home every night with my crazy little boy, who, oh my gosh, is almost 6. Crazy to think he was just an itty-bitty baby when I started this journey. But anyway, that's how I got into trucking, and I guess my resume for you thus far. It's been a wild ride, but here's to the long haul. Thanks for listening. Bye!